Hello everybody, I am going to show you how to make apple cider vinegar. It is extremely simple and you'll be shocked that they even bother putting all the bad stuff in what they sell in the store. So I just cut up some apples. You're going to take your cores, all the cores, you put it in your jar. They don't have to be, obviously wash everything, especially if you buy it from the store. Add all your apple cores. I'm making a mess. I don't have a place to set my phone easily, so I have it mounted, and it's not easy. Anyway, I gotta get tripods. Because I already used this thing to cut the apples, so I've got all the cores. Pretty sure I got them all. And then you're gonna actually, I have all the apples to where they're in nice little slices, and I gotta cut off the peel. Okay, hang on. Let's try this. Alright, let me get a knife. Apple stains clothing, that's why I have this lovely apron on that my son got me for Christmas. I don't have it tied in the back, but whatever. So, all your peels, just go right into the jar. Apple cider vinegar is really, really healthy, and it is a fantastic addition to a lot of meals. I cannot say that it is a good substitute for white vinegar. That is altogether different. I've been looking into how to make that. I don't think it's hard, but I haven't seen somebody to sit there and guide you through how to make it. Once I learn, I'll show you. But you just basically get all your apple scraps. Seeds could be inside. It can have stems, everything. Wish I had my apple core peeler slicer that I used to have from Pampered Chef. That thing's fabulous. I've got a lot of apples to take the skins off right now. Obviously, you try to get as much of the apple off the skin as possible. Because what I'm going to do with these apples is I'm going to freeze dry them. Catherine and I freeze dried apples, like 3 or 4 apples last time, just to try them. Oh my gosh, they're so good. So good. They are like the kind you buy at the store, but obviously we're trying not to buy things at the store. Trying to buy whole food items, because that's where health is, and whole foods that are not treated with pesticides. But anyways, we made the dried fruit, freeze-dried apples, and she added them to cereals, and she took some for snacks for school. They were delicious. I know that having an actual freeze dryer is an expensive endeavor. I do not necessarily recommend always buying one, unless you're like a really serious homesteader, because yeah, it takes up a lot of space. It takes some electricity. I don't feel that it takes up any more electricity than running our air conditioner now, because of the fact that our house is small and we only have one area where we can fit it right now until our addition is finished. It goes on the same plug that the air conditioner goes on, so I can only use it on cool days. It takes anywhere from 12 to 15, sometimes 24 hours, depending on what you're freeze drying, for it to run its whole cycle. But I personally think it's well worth it, because we're conserving food and trying to make everything from scratch. But, yeah, she put them in her cereal, and she took my snacks, and she's like, we have to make more. Okay, we'll make more. So we've got some Honeycrisp apples from Trader Joe's today, because apples are not quite in season for farmers markets yet, and I do mostly trust Trader Joe's. I have not found any evidence of them being bad for you. And Honeycrisp, come on. These are like good apples. And they're not like those big huge ones that Wegmans sells that are like super expensive. Like, that ends up being sometimes $2 an apple because they're so huge. Apple cider vinegar. This apple cider vinegar is not. It's not like you buy in the store. It really just isn't. It is. It's not thick and gross. It does get a mother in it, obviously, because that's the part that actually is healthy. The SCOBY that stays inside of there has a lot of health benefits. I can't say that I want anybody to eat it, but it is definitely on the healthier side of things. Now, let me pause you while I finish this up. I will be back. So, one of the reasons that I like freeze drying is because sometimes it just preserves food to taste really, really good. It concentrates the flavor oftentimes. So there's been people who have been freeze drying pickles and they say it's gross. Because if you don't like love them, I guess it's not something that people like. I don't like pickles. I like bread and butter pickles a little bit. Like sweet pickles are pretty decent. I'm just chopping up my apples now, making sure I've got all the peels. But anyway, there are people who will rent out their freeze dryer space for use. I have considered doing that, but I don't think there's such a market for that in this area. If people are ever interested, I can do that kind of stuff. See, more peels. And a couple more. There's also a way that I still have yet to learn that this on the inside here can actually be turned into pectin. So you take all your apple scraps. Hang on. Water, filtered water. It has to be filtered water, and all your stuff needs to be below the water line because you're basically fermenting it, right? Rinsing my fingers off. Let me get the sugar. I don't put a ton of sugar in, and this is raw organic sugar. I don't put a lot of sugar in. It doesn't need a lot because there's sugar in your apples. But this kind of just gives it a little bit. I don't even use a full cup. I just kind of like put a little bit in. That didn't stay up there. Fix that later. But then you, hold on, let me get my lid. So I put the lid on just to shake it. My lid doesn't stay on right because these are old jars, old antique jars, and the lid's plastic. But I only needed it to make sure they're all below the water line. I will edit this. And then you just I put cheesecloth and a rubber band. The other thing I also do is set it on a plate because it will bubble over. And I label ACV. Hold them. And the date is 9/1/24. You can read that. Spy cards for you, but it's okay. And I'm going to put it on top of because I don't need it to stay on my jar, but I put it on top of the paper, the cloth, because I can just easily peel it back off afterwards. And this sits for a week, and after a week, you will strain out the apple pieces, and then you will just let it, and you can throw them to your animals, your like chickens, farm animals. You could even potentially like freeze them, your scraps that you dump out, and technically you could make more if you were absolutely desperate. It would not be as strong of a vinegar, but it could still be used. Or you could, there's a lot of things you can do with apple scraps, even after they've been used for apple cider vinegar. I usually just throw them to my chickens because it's easy. But after a week, you strain out the apple scraps, and then keep all the liquid, and then do this again with the cloth and the rubber band over a plate, because that's important, because it'll get everywhere. And then you just let it sit for another week, and you have apple cider vinegar. It's not hard. Don't buy that stuff from the store, because it is not always what they say it is. We're not trusting anything anymore. Because I can tell you that, like, what's the guy from Lord of the Rings, the elf guy, Katy Perry and him. Anyway, they bought Bragg's, which was supposed to be the best one that you could buy at the store, and I can only imagine what they're doing to it to make it cheaper for them. But anyway, I'm going to finish cutting up my apples for my freeze drying. And I hope you learned how to make apple cider vinegar.